Good afternoon, and welcome to the July 10th Indiana Thoroughbred Breed Development Advisory Committee meeting. This is Megan Arsman. Joining us on the phone call today is Jessica Barnes, Director of Racing and Breed Development for the HRC. We have Bruce Murphy, the chairman, and we have committee members Tianna Richardville and Blaine Davidson on, as well as Kevin Greeley from Indiana Grand. We have our Q&A portion already up and going. If you have any questions pertaining to the subjects that we are discussing today, feel free to type them in and we'll try our best to address them. So I will shoot it off to Jessica to get us started.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to say, welcome to the meeting. I appreciate everybody, having cooperation with us in the virtual realm that we're in right now. We're hoping that in the future, maybe we'll get to a point where we can have possibly the next meeting live at the racetrack. But one of the things that Breed Development wanted to do before I turn this over to the chairman was, to meet on a regular basis so that we can just talk about any issues that are coming up at the track and just see where we are from month to month. So that's what we're here today to do. I did get one question ahead of time, so I'll be sure to bring that up a little bit later when we get to it. I appreciate people sending those in, and I'll turn it over to Bruce.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Okay, the July 10th Indiana Thoroughbred Breed Development Advisory Committee has now come to order. And I'd like to just start off by saying, hey, thanks to Jessica and everyone there at the office there, for getting this meeting together. And finally, I think we're all back at the races. We got the races going. Everything's been good at the racetrack. Everybody, I think, has been doing all the safety protocols that was presented to them. Had a great day at the Indiana Derby the other day. If people weren't there, you missed out on a lot. It was great racing. The handle was tremendous and a very good crowd for a first-time afternoon. I think they broke all the records on the handle, and it was a very interesting day. So I reckon we'll go ahead and go on with the meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Well, thank you. Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Okay, seconded by Tianna. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we'll go on to a review of this year's 2020 program to date, which has been very good program, It's good fields and a lot of good trainers in the Indiana races and the open races. And so, Jessica, could you go ahead and kind of fill us in on the revenue from the casino,
Okay.
please?
Yeah, I actually pulled the revenue this morning from the Indiana Gaming Commission reports, which was posted about 10 a.m. this morning. So the total AGR for Hoosier Park was $9,670,509. The Thoroughbred Breed Development portion of that is $217,949. The actual revenue for Indiana Grand was their total AGR was $14,154,143. The total to breed development from that is $325,982. The good news is that when you total those two together, it's $570,931. And the number that we actually estimated for the month of June, which is what was just deposited, was $120,000. So we're actually $450,000 above what we estimated. That really makes me happy because that makes us it's positive, and I hope that trend continues. I do want to point out that we did lose 2 months. When you look at revenue, you saw zero revenue coming from the month of May or the month of June, and we lost half of the revenue that was deposited in April. So from the what was earned in March. So, you know, we're not out of the woods yet. I'm still a little bit nervous about, you know, what's going to happen in the next, you know, coming weeks with, you know, the governor pausing the Back on Track Indiana plan and the numbers. So I don't think we're out of the woods yet, but I'm hopeful that, you know, that things are doing better than we thought they would. And I'm very excited that the numbers aren't lower than what we projected, because I would be sitting here with my stomach really upset if they were. So any questions on that piece of it, on the revenue piece of it?
So with our revenue being quite a bit above what was projected, then we should feel pretty good about being able to cover the purses the way they are through the rest of the meet. Hopefully
Yes,
we're going to see an increase at some
if
point.
it continues, yeah, if it continues that way and we don't experience any type of a shutdown. So, you know, as long as we don't have, you know, some major setback, then I think we should be really, really good. I did get a question, you know, ahead of time that I sent out to the committee members, but they may not have gotten it in time of this meeting. But it was, let me pull up the question for you guys. You know, there was a question with casinos and racing handle exceeding expectations. Will the breed development money go back into the stake races and purses as originally planned prior to COVID-19? Earlier this spring, it was discussed to reevaluate after 30 days. First off, I am so ecstatic about the handle being where it's at. You know, unfortunately, though, the handle, it helps the purse account. It doesn't help breed development funds. So we don't see any revenue from handle except for breakages and outs. So I don't know what that impact of the handle being increased as it will be on breed development. We may see a little bit of uptick in breakages and outs from the handle. It's not going to be a huge amount on that end of it. The casino revenues, I'm excited at where they're at. I'm still a little bit nervous about going back and throwing money back in to the program yet until we, you know, have a couple of months under our belt and we just make sure that things keep rolling smoothly. And the board members, you guys can chime in and let me know if you think, you know, differently on that. You know, the question purses is originally planned prior to COVID-19. I don't know if we'll ever get back to where we were this year prior to COVID-19, because I'm not sure that we're going to make up for 2 months of completely lost revenue. With that said, we're racing less days, so you don't have as much to make up, but I think only time will tell there. So.
Well, Jessica, it's my opinion that we borrowed money from the reserves, which the Horse Racing Commission had set. And it would also be my opinion that we pay our borrowed money back before that we start raising in other areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did borrow, you know, we scheduled to use quite a bit of money from reserves, which was going to drop us down below our projected level the commission would like to keep us at, which they approved because they understand that this is unprecedented times and, you know, we got to keep the program going. But yes, so you know, that 450,000 that we're ahead right now, you know, that reduces how much money we have to use from the reserve. So Blaine, you are correct looking at it that way as well.
I think it'd be important to come up with a plan that maybe prioritizes what would come back in order. If we had extra money, say it's putting the stakes races back intact or adding seconds and thirds or whatever. If we get to this point, we have this much, we can do this. If we get to this point, we can do this, where you kind of prioritize where it would come back in, maybe to that was in the near future, maybe.
Yeah, I like that idea. You know, I think it's always good to have goals to reach for, and then horsemen could know if we get to these levels, you know, here's kind of what here's what we think. So, you know, if the committee members want to send me their thoughts on what the priorities can be, you know, I can work on getting a list together that maybe all of you guys can agree on, and have some discussion about it at the next meeting if you guys want to.
I think that sounds like a very good idea.
I think it sounds like a good idea too. And Tianna, your idea was good. I'm like you, or like Jessica, I like to see things put out, what we're gonna reach for and what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and I would also say, you know, I know the committee's always open to input from the horsemen and the horsemen's group. So, you know, if ITOBA and HPPA have some thoughts on what they think those priorities would be, they're welcome, I would say, to submit those as well for you guys to consider.
That's a very good idea too. I think that everybody's working together right now better than what I think. I've been around this for 12, 13 years, and I think all the associations are working better together right now than they ever have in the past. And that's a great, great positive thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The next item in your packet is the chart. It shows, it says Indiana Thoroughbred Breed Development 2020 race summary. And this is just a sheet that I did, that it shows every Indiana bred race and Indiana sired race that the breed development program puts money into. So I have put these into a spreadsheet. I have put the person there. We have put breed development dollars. I've kind of categorized them so I can do some sorting and grouping later as we go. And then there's awards and the stallion awards for those races. I've divided it right now. The first page is all the Indiana bred races, and then the second page is the Indiana sired races to date. And this was actually data through the 13th of July. And this does include the stake races. So Kevin, when you look at your total to breed development purses, knows that includes the stake races in there. But so this shows you, you know, what we spent from the breed development program to purses, what we spent for breeders awards so far, what has been spent to stallion awards, and then the total breed development money to date. I also was able to pull out of here and calculate, you know, what percentage, we do have that new requirement in the statute, what percentage of the breed development money has went to the sired program to date. And we're at 41.55%. So we're at that 41% mark. And that's just that summary.
Okay, Jessica, that is fantastic. Thank you. I know that took a lot of work, and we really, really appreciate you doing that, okay?
Mm-hmm. Well, and this will be helpful when Kevin and I balance against each other. You know, as we get further in the meet, we always check in with each other and make sure we have the same numbers, you know, make sure that we're on track with the budget. So this will help cross-reference that.
So this is coming out right almost on the money.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That is terrific. I know there was a lot of discussion about this and how Kevin would write the races and so forth, but I, for one, am very happy that it's coming out awful close.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The next sheet is, and I just included this because it's the race summary report from the racetrack. And this also shows you, you know, one of the things that the track does is they write races that are below $10,000. No breed development money goes into it. No award money is paid on those races, but I think they're races that a lot of people appreciate as well, being available. So this is just a summary. So it shows all the Indiana bred races at the track, which includes those. And I don't know if Kevin wants to to talk a little bit about the races and how the meet's going?
It's going good. You can see the field size here is 8.72 for Indiana breds, which is up over last year, so that's good. The $5,000 races, I'd like to be able to make a few more of those. That helps spread the purse account out a little bit further, but so far so good, I think.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. No, I've heard a lot of good reports. You know, I have heard some people say, you know, some of the $5,000 races, just like you said. But I think everybody's off to a pretty good meet here, and I think the track's been working hard. And so, now, Jessica, can people that are out there, you know, watching or listening, can they see these?
Yes.
Is there? I'm on the phone. Okay, right now.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so.
Yeah. If somebody's watching through, I think it says we have 8 attendees right now. Watching. If somebody's watching through the live event through Microsoft Teams, they can see these documents on the screen. We also have the packet posted on our website, so it's on the meeting information. You've got to go down all the way to the Thoroughbred Breed Development meeting. So scroll down the page. And you can access and actually download this packet. And then we should be able to, I believe, I see a red button. Are we recording, Megan? Yes, I think she's nodding her head that we're recording. Yes, we're recording. So what we did after the last meeting is we put the recording of this on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yes, Megan, right? Am I right? YouTube channel? Okay, she's nodding at me. I can see her. So we put the recording of the meeting on the Indiana Horse Racing Commission YouTube channel. So you could actually go back and find that meeting and watch it. So, you know, that's one of the good things about the virtual meetings. So.
Okay, well, thank you, Megan. I know you've worked hard on these meetings that we've had virtually, and I know it took a lot of time, so thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, I reckon next we'll go on to old business. Do we have any old business we need to talk about?
I don't know if what we were talking about earlier was old or new business. It's kind of both.
Yeah,
but-
old. I'd say that would be old business. Yeah.
Okay. Kevin, I don't know what part you came in when we were discussing a little bit prior, but I got a couple calls that wanted me to bring up, and I guess it was the prior committee that had discussed putting your Indiana bred allowance conditions didn't count against you to run in open races. I remember seeing those occasionally. I never thought it was a consistent thing, and Jessica kind of said it was a proposal that never became a rule. Is that right, Jessica, or something?
Yeah, what I could find when I went back, it was discussed at a meeting in the end of 2016. And what I found was there was the minutes from 12/16 basically said that somebody had brought us a proposal and that Wendy had made a motion to support Kevin in setting down with ITOBA and HPPA and breed development to consider a change to the lifetime eligibility language. When I went back and looked at the meetings from the next minute, I didn't find where that happened. And that would have been for 2017's proposal. So there's some people that think it was passed and that it was passed by breed development. I went back and I looked at what the commission approved in 2017, and it wasn't approved by the commission. So everything that breed development does basically has to go through a 2-step process. So the committee is an advisory committee to the commission. So the committee makes recommendations to the commission, and then the commission has to approve things to enact them. So those recommendations can be in the form of a proposal. So like our program proposal that is approved every year, or those recommendations in the form of the rule. And here's the difference. The proposal, the racing year that we're in. So the year that we're in. If something is changed from one year to year and it's not put in the proposal for the coming year, then it doesn't stick to the next year. So what's in the proposal, so such as the program guidelines, they have to be included each year in order to be enforced. Now, a rule, once the committee proposes a rule and the commission approves the rule is in place until it's changed. So those are the two kind of, recommendations that the committee can make to the commission. When I looked at the proposal for 2017, it didn't have that language in there. And it could have been passed during a meeting and somehow it didn't make it into the proposal. I'm human, I make mistakes. It could have got left out and none of us caught it, but the bottom line is it didn't get approved by the commission. So, it's not something that's currently a part of the program or in the program. So, and I don't know if Kevin, if you remember those discussions back then either.
I'm looking through my notes now from back then, and I see the meeting in it's November 2016, and I'm not seeing that in there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but it's easy to do, and I think it can help the Indiana bred horses, and I'll just start doing it. And what it'll be is Indiana lifetime condition races won't count against them in lifetime condition open allowance races. So if it's a never 1-2 and you have an Indiana bred that's won, it's maiden, never 2, and never 3, he'll be eligible for the never 2. Or if it's a never 3 and he's won 1, 2, 3 Indiana bred races, he'll be eligible for the never 3 also.
Okay, and that's something that the track would have.
I did it quite a bit last year, and I didn't include it in this book this year, but I will. I'll start doing it. So that's easy. That's easy to fix.
Kevin, what races would that be for? Would it be just for claiming races, for allowance races?
Well, right now, it is in any race that has an other than condition to it, whether it's a race other than, 2 races other than, or 3 races other than, it's in there. And it'll be added to any race that says straight fillies and mares that have never won 2, or 3-year-olds and older that have never won 2, or fillies and mares that have never won 3, or colts that have never won 3. It'll be added to those conditions there.
So basically, any Indiana bred that's went through their conditions can go back to being a non-2 if they were all allowance Indiana bred conditions.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I again had not seen this, but the call I got said that applied to claiming races too. I don't remember that, and a couple people I talked to didn't, but that's all. I've always seen that as whatever the claiming price is, those don't count.
That's right. I added that. I started that 3 years ago, adding that to the claiming races, lifetime condition claiming races. And this condition will say Indiana bred lifetime conditions will not be considered in eligibility in all those never 1-2s or never 1-3. So you could have won, if you won a maiden nickel, a never 1-2 for a nickel, or never 1-3 for a nickel, or for 10, or 15, or for 20, and as long as they're lifetime conditions, they won't count against you. It'll cover that.
But this was confusing to me, but I think what they were trying to say is that you could have won 4 allowance conditions. You could have went through and run back in a non-2 for 5, which why would you? I mean, you're going to lose your horse probably.
No,
but I don't remember.
That won't happen.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing that, but that's what was brought up and said it used to be that way.
Right. Yeah, no, we haven't done that.
That's what I know. That's what that a lot of people are wanting. Okay, and only because they said, well, if you had an allowance horse and you ran back in the open race for, say, a 5,000 claimer, okay, one thing, you're gonna lose your horse, okay, which I wouldn't think if you was running an allowance horse and Indiana breds and you came back in a 5,000 open claim, open claimer, that horse I think would be gone, okay? I don't think anybody would do that, but they're just wanting to make more races, I know, for the Indiana breds, and that's what a lot of people are wanting, so asking about. So tell me your opinion there on that, Kevin?
I think that's letting in a little bit too good a horse that it ever won 2 for a nickel.
I don't
We have
think
to
it would
try and
happen.
keep these I mean, some of them probably ought to be in there, but for the most part, I think it's too good a horse to be allowed and it never won 2 for a nickel. We have to, we don't want people bailing out of our open races and not being able to fill them.
Is there a race level there, Kevin, that you could say if they have been running allowance races that they could drop back to and run in those open races for, like, say 10,000 or?
Well, if you look at the overnight, I did that here, and it's a straight never won 3 for 16,000, and if you want Indiana bred conditional claimant races for 20,000 or less, you're eligible. So I'm giving them a little bit already.
Yeah, that's good to bump it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another question that was brought up was, and I guess I'd not paid much attention to this, but the weight for a sire going into, I don't even know if this is right, but weight going into a sire going into a bred, they get 5 pounds, and they don't get that to go in an open race. They get 3. Is that right? They're getting more to go into a bred race than they are to go into an open race. I don't even know this. This is just what I was.
Yeah, that's what I was told also, Tianna.
It says this is a part of our program rules, and I'll have to check and actually see if it's a rule, but it says in Indiana restricted races, registered Indiana sired horses shall receive a weight allowance of 3 pounds when running less than 7 1/2 furlongs and 5 pounds when running 7 1/2 furlongs or greater. But I don't think that it applies to open races.
Okay, well, the question that was brought to me was that they said they got 5 off if you ran a sired and a bred, but you only got 3 if you ran a bred or a sired in an open, I think is what they were saying. And they thought we should get more off of an Indiana bred to be an open race than you do to run a sired and a bred, if I'm explaining that right.
You got a thought on that, Kevin?
Well, they should probably get the same.
So it should
So
be
you guys
5.
should, make a proposal to the racing commission and make it a rule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That
Yes.
a sired would get 5 off in a bred race, and a bred and a sired would get 5 off in an open race.
Right.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm checking right now to see if that's an actual rule. Kevin, do you know if that's just a program thing or is that a rule? Do you remember?
I think it's a rule. It's a rule.
I
that
think
Paul
it's a
Tinkle
rule
came up
too.
about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, I think it is a rule too. I'm looking.
I'm
So
sure
that
it's a
can be,
rule.
that can be in our list of rules that we
Uh-huh.
proposed to. Okay.
Yes, it is actually a rule.
Okay.
It's
Get
a
that
rule.
changed.
So both of those things that I read to you, the Indiana sired weight allowance and Indiana bred races and the Indiana bred weight allowance, the 3 pounds, both of those are rules. So those would be rule changes. So we can add that to our list to work on. So.
Okay, let's do that.
And the one other thing I noticed, we had talked about including 6-year-old maidens, and the book just says 3, 4, 5. Did it?
There was actually a rule change at the last commission meeting, wasn't there, Kevin?
I'm not sure. I haven't been advised of it. If it is, I'll obviously change the condition book.
Let me.
I think I remember hearing at the one meeting I went to that it was going to include 6-year-old maidens.
Yeah. Hold on just a second. Let me get to the last meeting.
While Jessica's looking that up, okay, I would like to, going back to the conditions, okay, on the races, I'd like to have some people to get together, you know, say 4 trainers, get together and kind of, you know, talk about those races and see what we can do, if we can kind of propose something to show, to give to the commission to make it rules, and what would work for everybody as a whole. If we could get, you know, I don't know what 4 trainers, but we can talk about it, you know, people that's got several horses and several different levels of horses. Does everybody think that's a good idea or not?
Yeah, I think we should table it till the next meeting, and you and Kevin talk about it and maybe get some input from some of the trainers.
Okay.
In the meantime, are you guys okay with Kevin writing that condition on what he talked about doing? Because he does have the authority to
Oh, definitely.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody else is.
Okay.
Hey, and we all know we ain't gonna make everybody happy, okay? And, you know, that it's impossible, okay? But I think overall, I think Kevin's got a heck of a tough job. I think he does a darn good job at it. And I know there's times that I've thought that something should be different, but hey, like I said, I'm not always happy all the time, and everybody else isn't gonna be, so. But go ahead, Blaine.
No, that's, I think Kevin's got a rough job, and I think what he said there earlier is probably the way it should be. I don't see where we can drop allowance horses into $5,000 claimers, and I would be a little iffy claiming one of them, because if somebody's dropping, I gotta figure there's a hole in it somewhere, would drop an allowance to a $5,000 claimer, but I think the way he mentioned it earlier would be fine.
Okay.
I
But
mean, I have some open horses too, so yeah, I don't necessarily like the idea of, I mean, someone would claim him. I don't think it would make sense most of the time to drop him anyway, but I do like Kevin with a little bump, like you said, instead of when it's the race.
yeah.
The race is 416, your Indiana bred conditions might go to 20 or 25 instead of right at that level, because it's, but I like that you had the little bump in it from the price.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay, well,
But,
I'll get with Kevin, and we'll try to pick out 4 trainers, you know, that, and Tianna, I'd like for you to be in those 4, okay, or maybe even 5. And we'll all get together with Kevin and have a nice discussion sometime.
Okay, so it's basically to figure out how we'd propose this rule.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I did find the rule, and it does say it was approved by the commission at the last meeting. It's 71 IAC 7.5-5-1, section 29 of that rule. And it says, it is a maiden that has reached the age of 6 years or older with more than 6 starts. So that has been changed from 5 to 6.
okay.
Okay.
Well, it says 6 years or older, right?
Yes, 6 years or
Not
older.
limited to 6-year-olds.
Right, right.
Okay, so.
And I think
so
you
they
and I,
don't-
Kevin, worked on that language beforehand. We just probably
Yeah.
forgot that it was in there because it was proposed before everything shut down, and then it, carried through to the commission meeting.
Okay.
So,
All right, that's good. So we'll just start making our maiden racers 3 years old and older. And if you're older than, if you're 6 or older, you got 6 shots at it. Okay.
Okay.
You know, I think that with us having our meetings, you know, like so far we've been having one every month, even if some of them have been the virtual meetings like this one. But I think that really helps us to keep on top of things. And I know it takes time from Jessica and Megan and Kevin and Blaine and Tianna and myself and everyone, okay, and that's interested. And but I really think it keeps everything a little bit more up to date, and I'm very happy for what we've done so far. So, any other old business? Okay, we'll go on to new business. Any new business, please?
I guess I never know where it falls, new or old, but obviously we have to give it a little more time to see where things are going, and they change from day to day, but I would hope we don't find out we have a lot of extra money and plug it all in at the end. So as soon as we feel pretty comfortable, I think we should make gradual changes as we go to kind of reward people throughout the meet instead of just at the end when we find out we have lots of extra money for races or purse increases or awards or whatever it is. But I know we're not far enough to know that yet, but by keeping on top of it month to month, hopefully we'll continue to be doing well. And
I think what you said there a while ago, Tianna, was a great idea, like see what some of our priorities would be, you know, if things do keep increasing and being positive, see where, you know, what things are, and prioritize those advancements. So, and we need to start working on that and listen to, you know, listen to some of our members and people that are racing, and we'll work on that. I think that's a great idea.
I agree with that.
I'd have to think stakes would be pretty high on most people because you only get one chance at most of those. But
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Any other new business? Jessica, can you think of anything?
Nope, I can't think of anything. I just want to say the commission meeting Monday is at Indiana Grand. It is, all the materials are on our website for the meeting. It will be, there's an executive session at 10 a.m. and then the public meeting will be at 11 a.m. They're kind of encouraging those that are not testifying to view the live stream that's going to be happening of the meeting. But everyone that attends will be subject to, you know, social distancing protocols and will be required to wear masks. But if you go to our meeting page, you'll see all the documents. I mean, I think there's like 26 files posted there. So, and that's all the materials for the meeting. So.
well, I guess I had one more thing I had kind of thought about. I don't remember again, when is the Indiana Day? Brian, what day, or not Brian, Kevin, what day is that scheduled for?
That is on October, hold on a second, I got it right here.
October
Somewhere here.
28th, is it?
It is. Yes, sir. October 28th.
Okay, well, I guess we got quite a while then, and we don't know what the activities we'll be able to do by that point, but we had kind of talked about doing some special things on that day at some point. We need to come up with some ideas if we're going to be able to do them crowd-wise and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'd like to add, I know all the committee members and Kevin and everyone saw, you know, we have, as the state, we're having some limitations on the promotional funding that we can spend. You know, one of the things they restricted us on was, you know, the purchase of trophies. So, you know, a big thank you to Indiana Grand has kind of stepped in and doing some trophies for our stake races. So we'll be submitting some things to the governor's office for approval. So I'll try to work some things in for that Indiana day to see if we can get some approval for expenditures. So if any of the committee members or the racetrack has any specific ideas, get those to me so I can include those in and see if we can get that approved. So.
Okay, sounds very good. Jessica, we get to report on the revenue from the casinos, what, the 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere in that area?
It is posted on the Gaming Commission's website on the 10th. So it was posted this morning about 10 o'clock. And then we will post, the commission posts theirs after those funds are actually deposited into the account. So we balance it against what's deposited. So we post ours shortly after the 15th because those funds don't have to be deposited until the 15th. But if you, if anybody wants to, you can go out to the Gaming Commission's website and actually see that report. Let me see if I can pull it up here. If you go out to the Gaming Commission's website and you look, you'll see revenue reports from them. So under publications on the Gaming Commission's website, there's monthly revenue, and you'd click on that, and it's the June 20th one. And so it lists all of the casinos in the state. So the number that you look for Indiana Grand, because there's on the first page, there's 3 boxes, and the number that you're going to want to look for the total AGR is the bottom box on the first page. So, and then you'll want to go over to the last column. So let me.
Okay. I was just thinking about, when a good date for the next meeting, so we have that.
Yeah, they typically post them on the 10th. I was panicking this morning when I logged in early and it wasn't posted yet because I was like, oh my goodness, I hope that it's posted today. But it's usually the 10th of the month. So.
I'm looking at the August calendar, okay?
Okay.
And seems we race now on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Does everyone like the idea of the Friday meeting?
Fine with me.
Tianna?
Yep, that works for me.
Okay, then let's try to set our next meeting for August the 14th.
Okay.
And is this a good time for everyone also, like 2:30?
That's fine.
Okay, I reckon it is.
It'll work for me.
Yeah, and we can, if we need to change it just a little bit there, but let's try for the August 14th. It's another Friday. And we'll get a definite time. Megan and them, they'll have it up on the website.
Okay.
So at this moment then, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, however you did, and everybody stay safe. Come to the races. People can come in and watch the races now. It's been fantastic racing. Been a little hot. But anyway, let's all remember, wear those masks, be safe, and stay healthy. And at this time, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
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 Okay, meeting adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. This meeting will be archived on our YouTube channel. If you go to youtube.com and you type in the search bar Indiana Horse Racing Commission, you will be able to find everything there. Make sure you click on subscribe so that way you get notices when we put new things on our channel, including meetings and any fun videos, stakes videos, and such like that. But we appreciate you guys tuning into our meeting, and we will be back on August 14th.
Okay.
Okay.